Bienvenidas, bienvenidos, bienvenides a amigos de Re-Existe 2025. Es un gran momento para todos nosotros el estar juntos de nuevo de una manera virtual para este lanzamiento del documental Re-Existe 2025 preparado por el realizador uruguayo Juan Meza y con todo el equipo de medios que estamos trabajando para ofrecer una memoria gráfica de este gran encuentro que tuvimos en Guadalajara, en el ITESO, la Universidad Jesuita de Guadalajara, en septiembre de este año. Bienvenidos. Y junto con Cochurani vamos a moderar esta sesión para conversar sobre nuestras experiencias del documental. Cochurani, please, the floor is yours.
A hearty welcome to each one of you who are present here. We are really indeed very, very happy to be here, to be gathering online with a lot of our friends, participants on Zoom, and I hope many on Facebook. Re-Existe has been a very special event for us. So it makes us immensely happy to release this documentary, and a very hearty welcome to each one of you.
Gracias, Cochurani. Vamos a proceder de esta manera. Primero, miembros del comité organizador, vamos a comentar nuestras impresiones sobre este documental que ya pudimos ver en video y que va a estar disponible más tarde en YouTube para todos los que quieran verlo. Y es el modo en que vamos a proceder. Después abriremos la conversación a nuestros compañeros que están conectados por Zoom y que participaron en el evento en Guadalajara, porque es un modo importante también de escuchar nuestras memorias, remembranzas, recuerdos del encuentro en Guadalajara. We will proceed in a very particular way. For the first moment, we will be sharing as a committee some thoughts about the experience of the documentary. We have seen the documentary prepared by Juan Meza this weekend. And so we have some reactions, trying to keep alive some memories of what we experienced there. And then we'll open the conversation with all of you who were attending Re-Existe gathering in Guadalajara last summer. In that way, we will be sharing our thoughts, our feelings, emotions about what's going on after the meeting in Guadalajara. So for the first moment in our presentation, please, I'll be asking Juan Carlos, por favor, podrías también darnos la bienvenida y Mumbi.
Okay, so you're asking to say hello. Well, I'm pleased to be here. Entiendo que después se va a poner subtítulos en inglés a la presentación, entonces voy a hablar en español. Bueno, estoy muy contento de estar acá. Es muy temprano por esta zona del globo terráqueo, pero estoy muy, muy contento de estar acá. Ha sido una experiencia preciosa y pues vamos a continuar caminando juntos, ¿no? Todos. So I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm my time zone is very, very early right now, and but I'm very happy to be with all of you, and that was a beautiful experience we shared in Guadalajara. Thank you. Mumbi.
Gracias, Juan Carlos. Mumbi.
Because you spoke in Spanish before, please tell me, should I just say hello?
Just hello, welcome to everybody, please.
Thank you. It's very good to see everyone that's gathered here. I believe there's so many more on Facebook and YouTube. I still find myself thinking about Re-Existe in so many different ways. I haven't had time to unpack it, I have to be honest. But I look at the pictures and your faces, and so many memories come to mind. And that's the gift that I carry. So I'm very happy to have this space again together and to keep reimagining and re-existing together. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mumbi. We'll be starting now listening in some comments from Elias. Elias, which is not able today to join us in person, but he prepared a short video clip just to say something about his experience of Re-Existe as a host, remember, in Guadalajara, but at the same time watching the documentary, some of his thoughts and feelings about this. So we'll be now playing the video clip that he prepared for us.
Querida comunidad Re-Existe, lamento no poderles acompañar en el mismo espacio durante el lanzamiento de este maravilloso documental que con tanto cariño ha tejido Juan a partir de las voces y rostros de quienes hace no mucho nos unía el canto, el llanto, la danza, la denuncia, la oración y la esperanza. Las semanas transcurridas desde nuestro encuentro han dejado ver algunos de sus frutos. Artículos publicados a lo largo del planeta, nuevos tejidos de solidaridad, amistades entrañables que antes no existían, una suerte de fuerte sensación en el corazón de que no reexistimos solas, sino que formamos parte de algo más grande, en lo cual el misterio de la divinidad se manifiesta y se realiza. Los retos y las razones para desfallecer continúan siendo fuertes y se van multiplicando. Cada día, cuando pensábamos que no podíamos estar más cerca del abismo, sucede algo que nos pone más al límite. Una nueva faceta del horror se presenta a cada esquina, con cada árbol talado, cada niño asesinado, cada mujer desaparecida, cada joven secuestrado, cada bala disparada. Razones para rendirnos no faltan, y la noche de la fe parece alargarse indefinidamente. Con todo, y aún con el constante riesgo del naufragio, reexistimos. Navegamos las aguas de la incertidumbre en una juntanza que ya no nos puede romper, por más que el tiempo pase y los corazones vivan del recuerdo. Cada quien, en nuestros espacios, somos ahora quienes han de comunicar esas posibilidades de vivir diferente, de acuerparnos en el temblor del miedo, pero también en el de la felicidad. Al ver este documental, reviví muchos momentos fundantes, rostros que me dan esperanza, pues puedo nombrarles hermanos y hermanas. Saber que en algún rincón del mundo hay alguien con quien lucho a su lado y quien lucha conmigo, eso me da fuerzas para continuar de pie. En medio de las incoherencias de cada día, confío en el espíritu vivificador que todo lo transforma, pues nadie más que su sabiduría tiene la última palabra, ni quienes ostentan el poder, ni tampoco nosotras. Solo ese misterio que nos reunió el septiembre pasado. Que este documental conmueva e inspire, que no nos deje olvidar lo importante. Hasta la siguiente ocasión y bendiciones.
How he is missing us in some way and preparing also something new. What's going on? What's next? I think that's an important question that all of us we have in our hearts. Gracias entonces porque Elías nos preparó estas palabras y nos recuerdan algo importante que me parece todos experimentamos, es qué sigue después del encuentro en Guadalajara, cómo podemos nutrir nuestros proyectos, nuestros procesos de vida, nuestras intuiciones y sentimientos para lo que siga después de Re-Existe. Entonces, habiendo escuchado a Elías, ahora now we are listening carefully what Coach Urani has prepared also to share with us about the documentary, her thoughts, her feeling, her emotions, new project.
Okay. For me, participating in Re-Existe has been something very significant. Even from the time, I think it was in 2023 that Carlos invited me to be part of this team. And we've been meeting once a month, and it was a wonderful team, very international, and we really gelled. That was the beauty of it. And so we could really put ourselves the best in us, complement each other. Some of them worked a lot more, but really join hands to make this happen. For me, what I find really, what attracted me very strongly to Re-Existe is, in a way, I find, it marks how we humans have to evolve. Because when I look at my own background in India, we are born into a certain mold of gender, of religion, of class, caste, hierarchy, you know. And there I've seen, when I look at my life story, I see how I have been evolving. And that evolving has meant awakening. Somewhere I break that shell and I come out. And this is exactly the methodology that we followed in Re-Existe. And that is why I felt I could vibe with it very strongly. It was so meaningful because it affirmed me that I'm on the right track, you know. I'm not stuck somewhere. I'm also evolving. And that meant constantly re-existing. Another beautiful thing which I carry in my heart is that at homeness with diversity. You know, India is a country where diversity is there everywhere. But now in our present socio-political, religious climate, diversity is seen as a threat. Each one is trying to safeguard their identity. Whereas in Gaudalahara, we just celebrated diversity. We were so much at home with each other, we could affirm each other's difference, embrace each other's difference, and celebrate it. No? Another very beautiful thing which I really carry and am relishing is it was a treat for the mind, body, and spirit. It was so different from our conferences, no? Like national or international conferences where we think and we have discourses and all. Here we listened, we spoke with each other, the conversations. We had rituals which were so meaningful. And even our fellowship together as we danced, as we sang, as we ate together, as we took shots of tequila. It was all so bonding and so, helping us to re-exist. So I take this in my heart and I will sow the seeds of this wherever I am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kochurani. You can invite somebody else of the committee to share with us.
I will invite now Teresa to speak what Re-Existe has meant for her.
Thank you, Kochurani. And it's good to talk after you because I need to talk only half because you've said many things that are in my heart too. I have unfortunately not been able to watch all the 4 documentaries, but I watched the first one. And I am assuming the rest will share this impact and maybe widen it in ways that I cannot anticipate because of only having watched one, but certainly the first one. Immediately it conveyed to me the first thing that I was surprised by, it's the seriousness. It's a sense of density. It just watch that, and of course, I don't speak only to the documentary. I'm just going back to what the experience was. That's a feeling of density, as if you enter sometimes rooms or spaces or you interact with people and everything seems a bit dispersed. And in other places, there is a sense of, I don't know, maybe it's consciousness, the word I'm trying to find, that, right? That there is a purpose. And there is, like, you can feel it even in the documentary. There is a seriousness. People come from backgrounds, and we've heard about so many of them that are very painful and situations that are hard, personal situations. And so you don't travel for nothing, right? And so many couldn't travel, unfortunately, and we carried them with us too. But those who made it, it's, to a cost, right, for each person. And I don't mean only economical. And I guess, I'm just guessing, many of them also had this sense of, I'm representing a group here, right? It's not I'm alone. I'm just bringing, I don't know, a weight, but I'm carrying it happily. It's not a weight that weights me down, but it's a weight that gives me a gravitas. So this is my first point, the gravitas that I wish that we all always carry because it's consciousness. And I could see that in the documentary, and it brought me back to the feeling I had. You can see, right, the documentary captures many faces that are praying, that are listening, that are attentive, and the way to talk. So that gravitas I remember with joy, and I think it's rare to find. Pretenses of gravitas you can find in many places, right? You just make a serious face and then it seems it's there. But no, I'm not talking about serious faces. You can be just seated on the ground or dancing or whatever, and still that's part of it. Then the second one I just want to mention is the prayer, right? How important it is to pray together, and how important it is that we did, and that you widen it, Kachurani, the ritual, but I agree, but specifically, right, that we pray together. And I think in the first 30 minutes there is a moment where Juan Carlos is saying, okay, vamos a rezar al Dios, a la diosa, a la divinidad, a la naturaleza. Bueno, that's how every person says it, right? This is the God, the goddess, the nature, the spirit, whatever it is that holds you in place and together and gives you hope. And this is so important, that we have a meeting where the prayer is present and in that open way, right? So it's not a particular prayer, but it's helping all of us. Remember, we do have spiritual dimension, and this is the key one. And this doesn't mean right away from the world, we know. And then because of that, the prayer, then the body. And also with Turani, you said it, right? It smells, it gazes, it's not, and this, I know it in my mind, but that's precisely the point. It's not about knowing it in your mind, that not everything are ideas. It's about embodying it. So this thing that I know theoretically, it just reinforces itself by realizing how much in the documentary, how much in the experience was not exchanging ideas, and how important it is that that's the case, that ideas were there, were exchanged. And I think we should always try to have this exchange in the best possible way, the deepest, the serious, more serious, yes. But it's good that maybe not even 50% of our exchange was exchanging ideas. So I realize how important it is that even 20% must be enough for exchanging ideas, and I consider them so important. But this embodying them, it was done in Guadalajara in ways that I am familiar with and ways that I'm not familiar with, and that I enjoyed. For example, how important that it stays with me, this Eucharist with honey. I call it like this because when I am given something in the midst of a ritual, that's a Eucharist, right? But it's honey. So it's like, so what? I just take a thing that tastes a certain way. And when the thing tastes differently, that's in me. And it's in me in a way, it's what I mean by the idea of diversity is in my head. But when I taste the honey in the context of a ritual, that I am waiting with my hands like this, like for the Eucharist, and what comes is honey, suddenly this diversity is in my body. And that I think it's precious. And then my last point would be, I named it like holding contradiction. It's also good that we did not try to come up with a manifesto at the end, that sometimes it's important to do, and I would also hold. But it's not a place, it has not been a place, and I would like that it's never only a place where people just come down into, again, an agreement of ideas, right? That we can just formulate and we can hold the manifesto in our hands as this is what we produced together. Like, no, that's not what we did. So that upholding contradiction means that you could have a person expressing herself in one way and another in another way. And so what? We listen to one, we listen to the other, and then each person lets that grow within, right? And so holding contradiction, I bring it together with compassion. So that's what happens. You just have to open up in a way to just hold it and see how things are not that easy, because many instances, and many of which we want to fight against, but also because there is a complexity. There is a complexity. Each human being, it's just doing her or his own path, and doing it, if you give the space for that person to express, you can see how true to that person that particular way of doing it is. And so what do you do with that? You correct it, you redress it, you bring it to your own little path, which is as little as the others. You just open up the heart. And so hold contradictions, or hold in this compassion that I by no means consider contrary to action. I consider then any action you will undertake might be according to this beating heart of the God, goddess, nature, spirit, whatever Juan Carlos wants to call it. So that would be my...
If I may, thank you. Teresa, could you summarize in Spanish very briefly what you said, because of our friends who are not speaking English? Would be fine.
como de 4 partes, es como un resumen en castellano breve, pero empecé diciendo que con Cochurani valoro esta diversidad, este potencial de darme cuenta que la diversidad no es una idea en la cabeza, sino que es algo que lo tienes que vivir con las miradas, los abrazos, todo este recuerdo que tenemos del encuentro, en el cual pues la parte de la diversidad era algo vivido y algo, pues luego diré lo del cuerpo. Lo primero era esto, la diversidad y del valorarla. Y lo segundo era la oración, como yo pues me ha importado ver que compartíamos espacio de oración, como esto transforma, abre y habla, pues decía antes yo que a lo mejor intercambiamos ideas, pues menos del 50% del tiempo fue de intercambio de ideas, y que me parece bien, que seguramente con toda la seriedad que yo le doy a este aspecto, pero con un 20% quizá ya pasamos, ¿no? Y el otro 80% pues tiene que ser, ¿no?, entretenimiento. Eso no es así, es como vivencia, ¿no? Entonces la vivencia forma parte, unida al intercambio de ideas, de lo que significa un encuentro transformador. Y luego, pues, eso del cuerpo que ya he mencionado antes con lo de la diversidad, lo he concretado con el ejemplo de la Eucaristía de la miel, ¿no? Que he dicho que cuando pues yo me espero con las manos así y estoy en grupo y estamos orando y alguien me da algo, pues yo espero pues la forma eucarística con su gusto característico. Si tengo suerte me le dejan mojar un poco de vino, pero me llega la miel. Entonces esto es lo que quiero decir, que en el cuerpo ahí se queda un recuerdo somático que ahora casi que no puedo tomar la Eucaristía sin acordarme de la miel, ¿no? Entonces digo, bueno, ahí se me han fecundado estas abejas polinizantes, me fecundaron algo profundo, ¿no? Y esto abre, ¿no? Y es bueno. Y lo último que he dicho es lo de mantener las contradicciones, que no ha sido un encuentro en el cual vayamos a formular un manifiesto al final que podemos coger con las manos y enseñar como el fruto, el producto de nuestro trabajo, sino que ha sido realmente una presencia, un escuchar y un tomar conciencia de caminos diversos, de conciencias también diversas, de experiencias que se concretan en palabras muy distintas muchas veces, y eso pues no hemos pretendido uniformarlo, unificarlo, lo hemos acogido, y por eso hablaba yo de mantener o sostener contradicción junto con compasión, ¿no? Eso.
Gracias, Teresa. ¿A quién invitas ahora?
Bueno, no sé si Mumbi ha tomado ya la palabra.
So please, Mumbi. Great.
Thank you. I think as we came to the end of Re-Existe, I found myself holding so many emotions, and these emotions were reignited as I watched the documentaries, and especially the things that I had not seen, the interviews, hearing what people experienced at Re-Existe. And I felt gratitude, I felt grief, I felt courage, but most especially hope and a deep sense of connection to everyone, to the stories, to the histories that were all being weaved together in this very sacred space that we were able to create. I think Re-Existe showed us something very profound, the place of memory. And memory is not just something that we look back on. It is something that we carry forward with us. And we carried it in the voices, in the scars, in the laughter, in the tears. But it's also carried in the ways that all the people represented at Re-Existe have kept going on, even when the world has tried to erase them and their stories. And in those days, I really feel like memory became a heartbeat. It became the heartbeat of all those testimonies that broke us open. It was the songs that carried the weight of many generations and many cultures, and even more so, the tears and the silence spoke so much of what could not be said verbally. And I think the biggest thing is the truth that comes out, that to remember is an act of resistance. To remember. And remembering rejects erasure. We live in a world where there is so much erasure, and it's happening so quickly. This memory rejects violence. It rejects that certain cultures or certain pains need to disappear so that others can be comfortable. So memory became how we insisted that we are here, we are present, we are worthy, and we count. I feel another gift was the power of storytelling, rediscovering, reaffirming how powerful storytelling is as a form of healing. And I feel even of salvation. We saw how single stories, when shared with all of us, even though we could not even imagine some of the places that the participants came from, could shift the whole room. Even with the language barrier, you could sense the emotion because communication is not just verbal. And how these stories could name what has not been named before. And these stories made people who did not feel seen could now feel seen. But it also reminded us that suffering is not isolated, because so many times we walk through the world like strangers, but to remember that others are suffering just like us. So our strength is also not individual, that we can draw strength from others, even if we perceive them as strangers, they are truly our siblings. Something else that came out so strongly, the different personalities of the participants, was that resistance has not always been loud. I'm an extrovert, so perhaps my resistance tends to be loud, but resistance has not always been loud. I remember fondly, like Dickie in my group, very soft-spoken, has done amazing work in East Timor. But it's also in the stories we had of Cecilia teaching a language that the world has been trying to bury to future generations of Lakota people. It is the murals that artists paint on walls everywhere. But also it's most importantly that choice to continue loving even when the world insists on hate. And the act of staying alive even when the world wants to disappear you. When I think of all the continents represented, all the countries, all the cultures and subcultures, when I think of all the accents and somehow we were able to communicate, I think in seeing these parallels in our stories that have emerged at different times and spaces, the hope became stronger to realize that so many people are trying to change the narrative in different corners of the world. It countered everything that surrounds us in social media and the news every day, that tends to share with us woe and pain and suffering and the hatred and the exclusion. But seeing my own story and the story of others from places in the world that I've never been to or even met people from those areas just made my hope grow stronger. The last thing I would like to share was the art. The art was so powerful as we tried to dance in ways we had never danced before, to find rhythm where we had never thought we could find rhythm. As I had different people sing, even those who are not naturally musical, the films, the poems, everything that happened, I feel this was like oxygen. This was a spirit of God. It was helping us breathe when, sometimes breathing becomes hard when you're feeling so much pain. Because in Re-Existing, we remember the pain. But in having this space to perform and to be artistic, it helped us to breathe and to find the strength to continue persisting. So my biggest thing that I carry, and I find it so powerful, like being the Jubilee of hope, is this hope that has sustained me even since I left Re-Existing. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for every word they shared, every hug they shared, every tear they shed, the hugs I received, and the courage we collectively shared. I would just wish that we continue to re-exist together, even if we don't stay in touch all the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mumbi, for sharing with us your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas. Gracias, Mumbi, por compartir con nosotros tus historias y tus reflexiones sobre el documental. Nos has hablado de historias y de la historia que compartimos, de lo que no alcanzamos a ver en nuestras experiencias, pero que pudimos compartir no solo con la palabra, sino con el arte, con el silencio, con la oración, con la danza, con el llanto, y que el sufrimiento no lo vivimos aislados. Yo creo que esa es una gran y bellísima idea que has compartido hoy. Y en esta diversidad de personalidades que nos encontramos en Guadalajara, como cada quien pudo expresar su modo propio de reexistir. Gracias por subrayar estos momentos y estas como notas específicas del encuentro de Re-Existe. Would you like to invite somebody else from the committee to share her experience?
Juan Carlos, welcome.
Gracias, Mumbi. Pues voy a hablar primero en español y después trato de conectar con inglés sin dificultad. Vamos a ver. Bueno, estoy muy emocionado y qué lindo que hemos podido llegar a esta reunión. Cada encuentro es un milagro. No, cada encuentro es un milagro. Entonces quiero empezar primero por este milagro de apuesta para que personas de tantos países, de todos los continentes, pudieran llegar a encontrarnos en persona en un mundo que nos está fragmentando, separando, bloqueando, con visados, con documentos, con controles de tráfico aéreo para que no pases por un país y no puedas ir por otro lado. Con todas estas limitaciones, apostamos a desafiar ese tipo de control, ¿no? Y de transgredirlo a través de este esfuerzo. Y entonces, primero celebrar ese milagro de que personas pudieron llegar con horas de vuelo inmensas, ¿no? O sea, larguísimas, con bloqueos, con personas que las devolvieron, que no las dejaron subir al avión. Es decir, desde ahí empezó esta manera de promover reexistencia. Bien, yo pienso que lo que hemos estado haciendo estos 4 días en Guadalajara, en este encuentro hermoso de reexistir, ha sido prestar atención, atender. Yo creo que primero atender la historia de cada quien, tal como la entendemos, ¿no? En el caminar hasta ahora de cada quien. Hemos venido para compartir a partir de una atención a nuestra propia historia, a nuestro propio caminar, con una cierta mirada honesta de nuestra búsqueda, de nuestro caminar. Me gusta, Mumbi mencionaba la importancia de remembering, ¿no? De remembering. Quiero mencionar recordar, ¿no? Dar vueltas en el corazón. Hemos venido como atendiendo y recordando, ¿no? Se puede decir así, estamos prestando atención y recordando nuestras luchas, nuestros esfuerzos, nuestros compromisos, y venimos para compartirlo. Hemos llegado a Guadalajara desde muchos países para decir, quiero compartir cómo despertamos a una búsqueda de reexistir en un mundo que está aniquilándonos, ¿no? En un mundo en que está destruyéndose. Cómo estamos prestando atención y cómo hemos despertado a una búsqueda de reexistencia. Entonces eso para mí es muy, muy, muy bello. Lo otro es las personas que han llegado a este encuentro, tantos colectivos, han llegado diciendo, hemos despertado para crear, para abrir nuevos caminos. Y por eso el arte, la estética, es parte de este proceso que refleja, que revela nuestra dignidad creadora, ¿no? Siempre se dice que somos imagen de lo divino, de la divina, de Dios, del misterio, pero en su potencialidad creadora somos creadores, creadoras. Y muchas veces atendemos a la dignidad de las personas sin reconocer que deberíamos despertarnos todos a esa potencialidad creadora. Esa es nuestra dignidad, ¿no? Entonces, ha sido muy hermoso que personas lleguen en esto, a compartir eso. Pienso también para mí que este encuentro, Re-Existe, este caminar, podríamos decir así, tiene que ver con confrontar, no confrontar en cuanto a antagonismo, sino como abrazar o tratar de entender la dureza del corazón. Porque me parece que nos han enseñado que lo que se opone a la alegría es la tristeza. Y bueno, al menos desde las enseñanzas de Jesús, que pues sigo abrigando en mi vida o siguiendo en mi vida con muchos de ustedes y otros, lo que está opuesto a la alegría es la dureza del corazón, no la tristeza. Y yo creo que hemos prestado atención o hemos tratado de entender cómo esa dureza del corazón se disuelve, se aligera. Y por eso también todos los rituales, ¿no? Los rituales como que no juegan al nivel de ideas, sino que nos sacuden, despiertan nuevas dimensiones de nuestro propio cuerpo que desafían esa dureza del corazón. Y ese ha sido el terreno, es como si fuéramos, como el ritual, para mí siento como que es un masaje para que nos relajemos y podamos vernos unos a otros, ¿no? Entonces, para mí, eso, hemos atendido a la dureza del corazón, tratar de entenderla, cómo despertamos de esa dureza, ¿no? Y brevemente, nomás decir que la dureza del corazón nos impide sentir el dolor. La dureza del corazón nos impide ver nuestras diferencias como riquezas que nos nutren, ¿no? Entonces también hemos abordado, como decía Teresa, esa diversidad en las mesas, en los diálogos, las diferencias. Hemos honrado nuestras diferencias porque no tenemos duro el corazón para negar nuestras diferencias. Eso es algo hermosísimo, ¿no? Entonces, no negamos el dolor, sino queremos, a través de ese dolor que vivimos, encontrar al otro, ¿no? A la otra, al otro. Hemos encontrado eso. Hemos encontrado las diferencias. ¡Qué hermoso! Y también hemos encontrado el tesoro de vida que hay en cada persona, el tercer día en el salto, con las luchas de resistencia de toda esta colectividad en protección de un río que estaba totalmente destrozado, contaminado por la industrialización desde la década del 50 en esa zona. Nos hizo ver también que en medio de ese horror, en medio del infierno, en medio de esa tosquedad en el olor del ambiente, podíamos ver el tesoro de vida que hay en la resistencia, ¿no? O sea, cómo trascender esa dureza de corazón nos permite ver también los tesoros que hay en medio de nuestras resistencias. Y bueno, hasta ahí quisiera llegar, que creo que Re-Existe se trata de abrir caminos que desafían la dureza del corazón. Quiero dejarlo ahí y se puede ver en los documentales, Juan, bellísimo, y son 4 videos, uno por cada día del encuentro. ¿Qué tal trabajo que ha podido hacer Juan Meza de verdad con este esfuerzo? ¿Cómo ha podido captar diferentes momentos, diálogos? Ha sido increíble. Bien.
Could you summarize, probably in English?
Okay, I will
briefly?
summarize. Okay, what I was saying is I celebrate that many people from different countries arrived at Guadalajara, even though all the barriers that this world is hegemonic systems has been placing to block the possibility of our encounter, a global encounter, and people came to Guadalajara to share about their creative dignity that they have discovered through their resistance in their own context, in their own country. That was so beautiful to see it. That's why arts has been part of this creative dignity. It's a reflection of it. And I was saying that all the 4 days, I think we were like transcending the hardness of the heart as the opposed to the joy of the re-existence. I think we have been first through the rituals, we were massaging our hearts in some way, like open our pores to breathe differently with the other. And I said that trying to transcend that hardness of the heart in that joyful journey, we have found we can pay attention to our pain, and through our pain discover the other history, the other story, the other story. Also, I said that through transcending the hardness of the heart, we can bless and we can feel the bliss of our differences as a good ground for give birth to not something new. And also, I said, through transcending the hardness of the heart, we can see the treasure of life in each person, even in the midst of the horror. And I just point out about experiencing El Salto, how in the midst of horror, people, like, there's life there, like people resisting. So I'm pleased, and I finished saying, thank you so much, Juan Meza, for doing this beautiful work. And again, we celebrate your creative dignity as well. Thank you.
Gracias, Juan Carlos. Thank you so much. And because you mentioned Juan Meza, I would like to invite Juan to share some thoughts. Gracias, Juan, por estar aquí. Y tú, como el documentalista que ha hecho, el realizador de este documental, pues que nos compartas algunas de tus pensamientos, sentimientos, ideas que surgen después de haber hecho este documental en 4 episodios, uno por cada día: el despertar, el sanar, el acuerparnos y la visita al salto. Adelante, Juan.
Ok, hola a todos. Voy a hacerlo en español, y si quieren voy porque me es más fácil platicar
Adelante.
sobre esto y no estar pensando tanto en traducir. Me llevaría como a un lugar de pensarlo demasiado, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Si quieren voy parando para que me ayuden con la traducción, pero bueno, la grabación, cuando uno está haciendo un trabajo como este, hay como 2 personajes en uno, ¿no? Uno que es el que contempla y el que luego va a tener que narrar y conectar emocionalmente para contar la historia, y otro que es el operario que está en ese momento grabando, tomando 20 decisiones por segundo de si es el plano correcto, si el audio está bien, si las pilas están bien cargadas, si no se está metiendo mucho ruido, en fin, ¿no? Entonces, cuando estás grabando, el que toma el control es ese que es un poco más frío, el operario. El verdadero shock llega cuando ya en la tranquilidad del estudio uno se sienta a montar el trabajo, ¿no? Y ahí es cuando realmente se te viene todo encima. A mí me conmovió mucho, más allá de todo, ya que yo ya conozco el encuentro y sé de lo que se habla, lo que expresan, lo que comparten. Eso me permite también trabajar, por decirlo de alguna manera, entre comillas, como un poco en automático, así que sé lo que está pasando y puedo concentrarme más en algunos aspectos técnicos, pero luego cuando ya pasó toda esa vorágine de esos 4 días de correr y grabar y tener todo, ahí es cuando realmente sobreviene toda la conmoción, y honestamente es un proceso en el que no lo pienso demasiado, fluye, van apareciendo los materiales como mágicamente y se van conectando unos a otros. Entonces no tengo como un gran pensamiento o reflexión acerca de la realización. Es un trabajo como a veces muy intuitivo, pero sí, uno termina siendo como muy tocado, muy conmovido por lo que está pasando, y creo que en definitiva se termina notando como en una cierta intención como poética de narrar esto, ¿no? Esto es un encuentro en sí mismo, qué es lo que sucede ahí, pero también siento o he tratado de abordar los documentales como una pieza en sí misma, no como un mero registro, ¿no? No sé si me doy a entender, como algo que nace de ese encuentro, que obviamente se nutre de todo lo que narran, se nutre de toda la emoción, las reflexiones. Incluso yo me acuerdo que en un momento le decía a Carlos, ¿no? Esto es el sueño de cualquier cineasta, porque hay drama, hay comedia, hay reflexiones serias, ¿no? Hay acción, hay gente bailando, hay gente rapeando, hay gente diciendo cosas, Entonces es el sueño de cualquier cineasta documental, tener todo eso para luego armar una pieza. Entonces, bueno, eso es un poco no tenía nada preparado realmente, pero es lo
si
único
podemos...
que puedo decir. ¿Perdón?
Sí te estamos escuchando, Juan.
Una
Parece
pausa
que
para
Carlos,
resumir.
Una pausa, perdón, sí.
Sí, porque has dicho muchas ideas bellísimas. Just summarizing a little bit what Juan Meza just said, that there are at least two different moments as a filmmaker. One is that is more technical. The first part is just recording what's going on during the event. And the second moment is when he's working at the studio, editing images and trying to create the narrative. This second moment is more challenging, but at the same time is very fluent. Fluidity is all the time there because he's working with intuition, feelings. Not only is a very rational way of editing the narrative, but following what the people were sharing in some ways, more poetic. And so for him, this second aspect is what is more challenging in some way, but at the same time it is easily in some way like raising from the stories that people were telling at the event. And this is the second poetic moment, and where the people can really enjoy in a very joyful way. It is a dream for any filmmaker to have all these kind of styles like comedy and tragedy, and then he can in that way create a narrative following what he was experiencing filming of the event. Adelante, Juan. Y si alguien más quiere traducir la segunda parte, Juan Carlos o Teresa, adelante.
Ok, muchas gracias, Carlos. Perdón la pereza por el inglés, pero sí, me es más fácil expresarlo y aparte lo tradujiste perfecto, así que gracias. No, básicamente es eso, no tengo mucho más que decir. La verdad también, quizás como para cerrar esto, lo último que agregaría es que sí pienso mucho también en un público en general. Pienso primero en mí mismo, si me gusta lo que estoy viendo como pieza, como documental, olvidándome si realmente estuve ahí, si los conozco, más allá del cariño que les tengo, si me funciona. También pienso mucho en ustedes, pero también pienso en que la gente que no conoce el encuentro lo pueda ver y lo pueda asimilar. Más allá de, la palabra no es disfrutarlo, aunque es un poco disfrutarlo, ¿no? O sea, creo que nadie se sienta a ver un documental si se aburre, si no lo pasa bien, digamos, ¿no? Entonces, nada, teniendo un poco todo eso en cuenta, creo que es como se logra, pero insisto, para cerrar esto, termina siendo, más allá de que sí, de que es un reto y un desafío, no es tan difícil armar una narrativa porque ya el encuentro tiene una base muy grande. Me pasa con otros trabajos a veces que hay que lograr un storytelling emocionante y es difícil, hay que manipular mucho, que con música, con montajes, quitar de contexto cosas para armar una narración un poco más emocionante, pero en este caso de Re-Existe nunca me pasó y creo que se termina notando. Por eso también fue que salió bastante rápido. Así que bueno, nada, yo emocionado y agradecido y ojalá les haya gustado el trabajo.
If you want, I can summarize, Carlos.
Please, go ahead, Teresa.
Right. So Juan is saying that basically he's paying attention to his own feelings when he is editing that, and that means that it should be something that it's moving for him and that he likes it. And he tries to have this view also beyond the love that he has for the group and that he's knowledgeable, but as a viewer. But then he also has in mind, of course, a wider public, especially the wider public that do not know Re-Existe and they are not yet into the, let's say, atmosphere of it, that he can also touch these people and touch the hearts of these people so that they can enjoy. And he said maybe that's not the right word, but it is, because when you watch something that's boring, you don't stay and watch it. So he has this conscious task of attracting these gaze of the wider public. But then he ended up as a summary saying that in other experiences that he has, sometimes it's difficult to find the storytelling. That means to find the drama into what it's being recounted. And two, you need to manipulate with music, or you need to add elements that help it to be strong enough. But with Re-Existe, he doesn't need to do that because it's already there. The drama is already there, the strength is already there, and so it comes to him as spontaneous, so relatively easy, although a lot of work, but that's why he couldn't do it relatively quickly, or actually very quickly, because he found a material that it's already full of what he wants to express.
Thank you very
Gracias,
much.
Teresa, y gracias, Juan, por ese magnífico trabajo. Y
Por
si me
favor,
permiten, antes de darle la palabra a quienes están ya conectados, me gustaría también decir algo personal sobre el documental que estamos lanzando el día de hoy, y que además doy un poco la noticia de que vamos a estar a disposición en el canal de YouTube a partir de la 1 de la tarde de la hora de Ciudad de México, hora central en los Estados Unidos, y en Facebook se irá anunciando cuando esté ya disponible hoy. Solo unos comentarios breves. Para mí el documental representa como una memoria gráfica visual muy potente, bien construida, de un encuentro que tiene, al menos para mí, tres aristas muy importantes. El primero es el papel de las mujeres como maestras de sabiduría ancestral y contemporánea, de dignidad y de espiritualidad, yo diría de resistencia. Y viendo el documental, nuevamente confirmo esta experiencia que ya sentía en Guadalajara. Por supuesto, Angélica de Malasia, Cecilia de Lakota, y todas las compañeras del comité, Teresa, Mumbi, Kiko Churani, las madres buscadoras, Vero y Fabiola, las artistas como Yara, joven, y las compañeras de Oregon, del Perú. Me sorprendió muchísimo ver esta vitalidad, esta creatividad para contar sus historias de despertar, de curación y de acuerpamiento. Y también junto con otras personas, comunidades, pues como Luigi y Adelard, por ejemplo, desde las comunidades queer, que tienen una vitalidad impresionante resistiendo frente a la homofobia actual en el mundo, en diferentes contextos. Y esto me pareció como muy importante, este liderazgo, digamos, de género, por decirlo así, que diverso, que nos ayuda a entender cuán rica es la condición humana, y eso lo palpo claramente en el documental. Un segundo como centro de atención es el de los cruces que vivimos en Re-Existe, cruces entre diferentes generaciones, desde los mayores, los elders, hasta los más jóvenes, un cruce intergeneracional, pero también de entre el norte y el sur. A veces polarizamos mucho: el norte solo es privilegio, es dominación, colonialismo, y el sur es solo victimación, etcétera. Y bueno, vimos que hay un vaivén de relaciones de resistencia entre el norte y el sur. Las compañeras de Barcelona dialogando con los compañeros de Chiapas, o los compañeros del Perú con la gente que venía de los Estados Unidos. Yo creo que eso nos ayuda a transgredir también esos estereotipos de división. Y el tercer eje es un poquito el acento más, yo llamaría, decolonial de la espiritualidad, una espiritualidad combativa que es interreligiosa, que le da un lugar prioritario a las primeras naciones, a los pueblos originarios, porque son nuestras maestras de vida y de espiritualidad, y eso creo que lo palpamos de manera muy clara. Para mí fue como una fuente de emoción y de acuerpamiento desde las entrañas, y eso es lo que yo quiero subrayar. Y en el centro de todo, como un vacío que tiene sentido, el vacío de la ausencia de quienes nos faltan, el vacío de quienes no pudieron llegar aunque estuvieron invitados, como Moses en Nairobi, como otros compañeros de África que no pudieron llegar, compañeras, el vacío de las personas desaparecidas, Ese vacío no es simplemente algo que nos duele, sí, nos duele, pero también nos motiva a buscar otros modos de existir. Y en ese sentido lo asocio con lo que estamos viviendo en estos tiempos previos del Adviento, previos que es la espera del Mesías. Lo mesiánico está por acontecer y ese vacío que es el de una madre que busca a su hija, a su hijo, es fecundo. Yo creo que eso estaba en el corazón de Re-Existe. Son algunas ideas muy generales de lo que suscitó en mí ver el documental con sus 4 episodios. Y first one is the role, the leadership of women as spiritual masters in our community, in our gathering. All the women who were leading us into a more personal, embodied way of praying, of dancing, of reflecting on. Of course, Angelica from Malaysia, Cecilia from Dakota, or our friends from the committee, Kochurani, Mumbi, Teresa, the missing mother, the searching mothers of the missed persons. So many women who were really leading our gathering. I really appreciate very much. And the documentary expresses in a very powerful way this experience. And also together with other people facing gender violence, particularly the queer people, Luigi, Adlard, and many others who were helping us to understand the importance to deconstruct this kind of binary model, very oppressive, and what kind of spirituality is rising from their experience. Then the second element that I really appreciated is the crossing of different binaries, I would say, elders and young people, north and south, women and men and sexual diversity. So this crossing experience of gathering together in our difference, celebrating our difference, for me was great experience. And the documentary, in my opinion, expressed very beautifully what happened. And the third element is the decolonial spirituality. I call it that way because it's interreligious, it's interfaith. It's about the primacy of the First Nations leading us back to the source of spirituality with the deep connection to Mother Earth. At the same time, to the other, is not an individual experience of spirituality, but it's a communal experience of resisting together with Mother Earth for life. So in my perspective, the documentary expresses very clearly what is going on in this kind of decolonial spirituality. And finally, at the center is a kind of void. There is a experience of the missing persons, for instance, but the void also in our struggles, the people of Gaza, those who are not able to live in dignity and justice. So this is like a symbol of the Messiah coming and a source of hope. And that's why for me, the documentary expresses in a very creative way this experience that we had in Guadalajara some months ago. So thank you for sharing this. And I'll be opening the now for others who are joining us. Feel free to just open your microphone and share your thoughts. If there is somebody who would like to. Luciana, for instance, you're there. You'd like to share with us?
Hi, everybody. I came in late because I overstepped. I'm sorry, but
It's okay.
I still wanted to say hello and thank you for the experience. I didn't see the documentary yet, but I'm sure it's fabulous. And I just wanted to say hello to you guys because I miss you all. And the experience is something that I want to continue, and I want to recreate small little experiences like that everywhere that I go. So this is very inspiring. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you so much, Luciana. And of course, there were some little video clips that our media team, our friends, they were preparing about your presentation in Re-Existe, dancing, the role of water, and so on. So thank you for that magnificent work.
Oh, thank you.
What about Belisa? ¿Cómo estás, Belisa? ¿Quieres compartirnos desde el Perú?
Hola a todas, todos. Gracias, Carlos.
Está.
Hola, Teresa, Conchurani, Bubi, Juan, Luciana,
Hola, compañera.
Carlos. Hola a todos. Bueno, yo tampoco he visto el documental, no uso Facebook, entonces, bueno, estoy esperando ansiosamente que ya salga en YouTube. Y bueno, ahora quería expresar mi gratitud a muchas de las personas con las que logré conectar, con unas más profundamente que otras, con unas de diferente manera, con unas de un tipo, etcétera, pero logré conectar y quiero expresar la gratitud porque no siempre uno puede encontrar a personas con las que abracen, acuerpen, acojan esas cosas que compartimos desde adentro, ¿no? Esas cosas que no siempre pues las voy a compartir en cualquier lugar o en cualquier espacio. Y eso para mí es la magia que permite el encuentro con personas en diferentes espacios, pero desde adentro. Y digo que es magia y no magia de convertir objetos o personas en lo que uno quiera, sino magia de poder conectar desde lo interior. Y eso es una gran gratitud, obviamente, a la divinidad, al misterio, de poder encontrarme con estas personas y al mismo tiempo es no sentirme sola, porque me doy cuenta que muchas de ellos, de ellas, de ellas, pues están también en sus luchas, en su día a día, independientemente de dónde estén. Pero siguen adelante y esa fuerza que me entregan en sus compartires para mí me hace sentir también su fuerza, hacerme más fuerte, pero principalmente no sentirme sola. Entonces quería agradecerles a cada una, a cada uno, a cada une y bueno, un abrazo.
Gracias, Belisa, por compartirnos tu sentimiento, tu pensamiento sobre lo que te queda de Re-Existe en la memoria, esta manera de estar, digamos, juntos y con confianza y abrir el corazón y desde ahí esperar lo que pueda seguir en nuestras reexistencias, cada quien desde lo personal, pero también lo comunal. Y por supuesto, hoy a partir de la 1 de la tarde, de nueva cuenta, lo decimos, hoy 1 de diciembre, a partir de la 1 de la tarde, Central Time, hora del centro, que quedará disponible en YouTube, en el canal de Re-Existe, este documental con 4 episodios preparado por Juan Meza Fariello.
Yo quiero añadir una cosita.
Adelante.
En español,
Eso, Luciana.
porque Belisa me ha inspirado y me ha recordado esto, que yo me sentí inmediatamente en un ambiente de confianza cuando he llegado. Había tanta inclusión que parecía que ya los conocía a todos desde hace mucho tiempo. Sin haberlos conocido, me sentí en esa comodidad. Y yo creo que le ha pasado lo mismo a otras personas. So I was saying that I felt immediately comfortable as soon as I got there. There was an environment of familiarity already. So it felt like I knew you all from a long time. And that, that's a testimony that you guys are great organizers and make that kind of feeling come through. So, sí que son grandes organizadores porque han logrado poner esta sensación, este ambiente en marcha, ¿no? Muchísimas gracias.
Yes, sorry, my internet has been kicking me out again and again.
Yeah. Would you like to share something about your experience of Re-Existe? What's going on today after a few months later? So yeah, some thoughts, some feelings, some projects.
Yes. Let me just see all of you.
I have not shared, Anson. I don't know whether you have shared with somebody else your article, which I'm just, you told me that I could share with all. So I have not done it yet, but it was my intention. So.
Yes, I finally got around to processing everything at Re-Existe in writing. and I could also arrive more into my identity as a queer person, claim that space. And I'm so grateful to all of you for creating this space where such a honest confluence of biographies was possible. And what I really appreciate as the core of Re-Existe was this intentionality that all of you committee members carried. The courage behind it and the love behind this intentionality that was so palpable for me, and also the small oasis that I was a part of. And also Luigi wrote me something before leaving that I should mention. He said it has been such a deep spiritual experience for him where he could feel happiness and sorrow and joy and gravitas all together from our collective experiences. For him, it was truly heaven on earth. So that was what Luigi just wrote me.
That's Luigi.
Yeah. Thank you.
Teresa, probably you could share something about Anson's article in German, right?
Yes, it's in German, but I think we can have it translated so that everybody can read. But it's basically Anson articulating this decolonial construction of what it means, a queer identity, and bringing that together with recognizing our true identity as something that is beyond any classification, but doing that in a very concrete way, mentioning how in the Re-Existe experience in Guadalajara, that came to be true for him. So I think what we can do, Anson, is you gave me permission. And actually, it's important that this article was published in a journal in Austria. It's in Austria, right? The publication, Anson? So it's a theological journal.
It's a theological journal in the German-speaking, so Austria, Switzerland, and Germany.
That's why I thought it was not only Austria, even if you are there. So this is not a minor accomplishment, meaning that this article probably will be reference article, will be quoted, will be something that has opened up a space. So this is what Re-Existe wants to do, which is to open up spaces, not with the people that already know, but those who are yet beyond the boundary. That's not imaginary, that's a real one. Then Anson just crossed it for himself, and then he just brought, or it's bringing many others along. So I don't know, Anson, whether you have had already some resonances of your article, or it's a bit too early.
Both mixed.
The publication.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Both mixed reactions, but mostly good, also from my workspace, but also among friends who have been so moved. Because I finally just opened it, right? It's out there now. I can't go back. It's been very encouraging.
You're gonna hide anymore, Anson?
No, but I don't want to, and there is no need to. Yeah. And I was surprised that it's also on the website of the Bishops' Conference of Switzerland. So I was very surprised with that as well last week.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So they
congrats, Anson, for this success.
Anson? They picked up the article, the Bishops' Conference. It's not that the whole magazine is there. They just picked up the article to reference it.
They pick up some articles from that magazine for publication on their website, and I think this one is one of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is excellent.
Thank you, Anson. Thank you, Teresa. And by the way, just mentioning Anson's article, some other participants in Re-Existe published also some news, like Romina in the US, a journal, movie. Probably you know about Romina's article telling the story of her experience. Many of us, we have been in some way sharing in some journals, on some other digital media, what we experience in Re-Existe. So I think it's a right way to continue exploring what Re-Existe seeded at the time some months ago in Guadalajara.
And Carlos, that if Anson has it handy, you could just send the link now to the chat, just for whoever wants to look at the article, even if it's in German, but you can have it translated, right? If you send it through the chat, everybody will have it that is here. and then you can resend it, because and with these DeepL or other translators, it will do a reasonable, more than reasonable translation, so that you really can see all the details. So here it is. So it's already there. Feine Schwarz, net. Genug. And the title is like this, Genug. So this is enough. That's the title of Anton's article. This is enough. Re-Existe. Like decolonializing the spirit. So it's decolonializing the spirit.
Yeah.
Because it is enough. That's the title.
Thank you again, Anson and Teresa, for this conversation. And then let's skip to the final part of our presentation. I invite the members of the committee to say something about what's next. How can we imagine together next steps in this process of Re-Existe? Would you like to start, Kochurani, please?
For me, Re-Existe, I think I've said that many times, even in our team, it is not an event, it is a process. And I think those of us who've been part of preparing it and participating it, I think we've been very privileged to be part of this process in a very, very palpable way. Because I really believe, that is my spirituality, that the Spirit is working beyond religions, beyond, temples and churches and mosques, these buildings or the hierarchical structures of those who hold spiritual leadership. The Spirit is working, and that is exactly the subtitle that we gave now, the Spirit connecting the peripheries. But it is an action, the work of the Spirit, which we need to continue. Not only in this mega events, we would hold with a lot of work, but I think, these seeds we can sow in very many places. In India, I find immense possibilities. I'm just hoping, to connect with, because when we were together at one, women's program at the National, I felt we women have to articulate how are we re-existing. Because we are at the peripheries of the mainstream churches. So there are so many ways we can relive and expand this action of the Spirit. That is my big takeaway.
Great. So you invite somebody else, Kochurani?
Yes, I invite now Juan Carlos.
Muchas gracias, Kochurani. Pues, ¿qué sigue? Es interesante. ¿Qué sigue? Pues, para mí, el que arriesgar, caminar, trabajar comprometidamente con llevar adelante este proceso con el comité organizador hacia adelante a un nuevo encuentro. Para mí es reexistir, es, como dije, trascender esta dureza del corazón que nos aísla, que nos silencia, nos enmudece, nos hace alejarnos del misterio que habita en nuestros corazones y en cada quien, en cada ser que late. Y eso, que podamos trascender esa dureza de corazón y adentrarnos en la vida, que es tan compleja, pero sobre todo en su potencia creadora. Y poder vivir ahí, ahí dentro, bien dentro. Eso, que sigamos resistiendo. Gracias.
In English, please.
Okay, in English. Yes, in English. So, yeah, I'm committed to keep working on this with all of you, with the committee, the organizing committee, and being inspired by many people that show up at the Re-Existe encounter. This journey for me is like, what next is keep walking to transcend this hardness of the heart and get into the deepest mystery of life, that is the tremendous fruition, fruition of creativity, energy. The viriditas that appear in the documentary, the viriditas, that greenness of the divine. So thank you. Thank you for that, Teresa, about Hildegard. So yeah, that's exactly what I want to say. Let's get into that greenness and keep working on this. Thank you so much.
And you invite somebody else, please.
Yeah, I invite Teresa. Will you please? Yes.
Juan Carlos, thank you. And I want to start by thanking once more, because you remember that I arrived in Guadalajara and I told you about my mother who was sick, and that you gave me support on that, you prayed for her, and then I had to leave earlier because of her and something at the monastery as well. So this, first of all, to tell you that my mother is doing better, that her prognosis was not very good, but she's recovered very well. So it's still a process. And this I do to thank you once more for the support, but also to indicate that I have been part of the process with some limitations that already I made clear at the beginning, that I was joining because of the inability my heart had to say no to a project like this, but with the consciousness of limit. And so that limit you could experience with me too. So I am still in that situation, in the sense that I feel my heart part of this. But if the group were to find a way to, let's say, to put me in a second line or something, so I would accept it, because that might happen again, that my limitations, I'm aware that some of you put many more hours into the planning and preparation, and that a meeting like this needs that type of presence. So that I, again, have to tell you about my limitation, because also my father is now a bit sick, and at the monastery also more work is needed. So this was one personal aspect I wanted to share with you. And then as to the continuation, one of the things I was thinking about is, well, the first one was resisting, then the second, re-existing. We could stay with the name and I would be fine with it, but we could also think about reconnecting or recreating or something else, so that this it gives me a sense, I like it because it also the prefix, it always is a sense of endurance, a sense of perseverance, a sense of we're not going away, we're going to stay here as long as it's needed. So I like it. And the verb, as I said, I'm open to having it the same, because I think it's a good thing, re-existing, and maybe it creates a reference. But it could also be, when some of you were talking, Juan Carlos, I was thinking, recordar it's an interesting verb, because in Spanish it's recordar, but in English it's remember, which it has to do more with the mind, and the heart is the one who remembers. The heart, or is the mind who remembers? But in English, it's even more fun, because then you say remembering, you can think of becoming members again. I just made it up because it has nothing to do with the real etymology, but that's how you play with words, right? So remembering is like becoming members again by remembering, by including those who were forgotten. But then recordar in Spanish, it would be like, again, bringing the heart into it. So I just leave it open as to what name that encounter might have. And as I said, if it's the same, I'm perfectly happy with it. And so that would be my few words. And also it would be good to, given that the problems we have had with people not reaching were from some of the places in the world, like Africa, so it would be good to bring the encounter to this place, so that then we can, at least the people who were left out, we make sure that they are remembered in the sense of becoming members.
Hola.
Hi everyone.
Tal vez no nos conocen. Somos, junto con nuestra compañera Fátima, el equipo de medios.
Yes. We do the posters and we also manage the Re-Existe social media network. And you may see us there taking pictures and recording.
Hemos tenido la fortuna de estar aquí desde Re-Existe del 2019 y hemos visto cómo se ha ido transformando hasta lo que acabamos de experimentar, el Re-Existe de 2025.
we agree with everything you said. And we can also feel that being there and being here, it feels like being in a safety place.
Algo que el encuentro nos dejó ver cada día es que las luchas, las resistencias, también las compartimos. Este quehacer de la compañera en la cota también lo pudimos ver con los compañeros de Chiapas.
We can feel the words of our partner from Italy, Malaysia, and India. And we know that you can feel it too, with your people in your country.
Re-Existe ha sido una semilla para nosotros que transformó la forma en que hacemos diseño, en que hacemos gestión, en que hacemos programación. Estando con ustedes nos dimos cuenta de que podíamos y tal vez debíamos hacerlo desde la esperanza, desde el acompañamiento.
Doing the design social, doing it human, that's our way of accompanying.
Esta es nuestra forma de hacer Re-Existencia.
I'll be sharing finally my last thoughts also as member of the organizing committee. What I expect coming next is following what you said, Juan Carlos, Teresa, Cochurani, is continuing living the process. Re-Existing is a process, as Cochurani mentioned, and I agree deeply. It's a process of new life and awakening together with other people where we are located. Just sharing some news, tomorrow I'm moving to Chiapas in southern Mexico, continuing my ministry there. It's a Dominican friar with the Mayan communities and some other people who are resisting for centuries and decades in a very particular way. So I'm very happy to continue this process from southern Mexico in Chiapas. And of course, there is a home for all of you. I would like to host some local regional event somewhere, sometime in Chiapas, and continue weaving together networks in local dimension, but also regional and probably international. I agree that in 1-2 years, if the Ruach allows us to do this, we can have a dream, like gathering together in Mother Africa. We'll see if this is possible. And that's why we will continue in contact with all of you through digital media, connecting different communities. And please feel free to create something new, to propose some gatherings virtually or in person in local places. We can continue networking re-existences, right? So thank you for this. And if Mumbi...
¿Puedes decirlo en español, Carlos?
Ah, claro, sí. Perdón. Mi participación en lo que sigue coincido profundamente con lo que dijeron Juan Carlos, Teresa, Cochurani, en esta última parte, que es un proceso. Re-Existe, un proceso de continuar tejiendo redes de vida, de resistencia, de creación de espacios de dignidad, de esperanza, allí donde la vida parece más amenazada. Y aprovecho la ocasión para compartir con ustedes que mañana, 2 de diciembre, estaré ya viajando a Chiapas, donde continuaré mi vida en los próximos años como fraile dominico con la comunidad en San Cristóbal de las Casas, que es un lugar de antigua memoria, de resistencias por siglos de los pueblos mayas, por décadas de muchas comunidades en resistencia, como las comunidades zapatistas, las mujeres, los migrantes. Entonces estoy muy feliz de que desde allá podré continuar con ustedes tejiendo redes y esperemos que en el próximo año, en los próximos 2 años, sigamos cada quien creando redes de reexistencia en lo local, lo regional y probablemente, Dios quiera, la Ruach nos pueda inspirar y apoyar para que quizás Madre África nos pueda recibir y así poder encontrarnos con quienes siempre hemos estado invitando, pero no hemos podido lograr este encuentro desde Madre África. Así es que gracias por esto y ahora con una vista final de todos los que estamos aquí del comité, pues les damos las gracias por esta oportunidad de compartir el documental. Thank you so much, all of you, and see you around.